Hey, morning. Here we are. It's Monday morning and it's just gone 8:30 and that means it's property finance Q&A time. So, welcome to another Monday morning. Cheers. Now, if you watch this regularly, you'll know that there's a format. And if you're new to it, I'll tell you what the format is. The format is that I hang around for about half hour or so. Excuse me. I hang around for about half hour or so and people ask me questions on property finance. And every time they ask a question, I'll answer it. Pretty simple format, really, you might think. And well, I've been doing it for well over a year now. Started doing it in lockdown, first week of lockdown one, way back in March 2020, and people seem to like it. So, so I keep doing it. Uh, now, if you're watching this and you've got a question, property finance, ping it in the box. I've got a question to start us off from Joy G, which I'm going to do in a minute. So, what have I been up to? Well, I've been down in Birmingham for most of last week, and I've just been running my 4-day Ninja Investor program. Excuse me, which is my advanced level training. I've got some elementary level training I'm going to tell you about shortly, but yeah, I rocked up in Birmingham and had a bunch of people and there that want to do my in-depth training, and we had a great time. So there we are. Good. So here we are. No questions as yet. So let me click on with Joy's question. And hey, if you've got a question, ping it in the box. So Joy missed last week's session, and she probably won't watch this, but she will watch the refurb. So if it's not the replay, she will watch the replay. So Joy, if you're watching the replay, here's your question. So let me just get it up so I can see it. Okay, so Joy says, if we purchased our family home, which is in poor condition, and bought it below market value, and then done a high standard refurb on it, can we ask for a further advance from the mortgage lender that we used? And are there any other elements to consider in this, like 6 months rule or anything like that? So the answer is yes, Joy, you can do that. Now, main residence mortgages are granted on the basis that they're functional to live in. In other words, you can conduct the main tenets of daily life. In other words, you can cook, you can wash, and you can toilet. So if you can do all those three things, you'll probably get a mortgage on it. Excuse me. And then once you've got your mortgage on it, you can then do the refurb work, make it up to a nice family home to live in, and then you can apply to your mortgage lender, the same mortgage lender. You don't have to switch mortgage lenders. You can apply to the same mortgage lender for further advance based on the uplifted value you've got. Now, what are the caveats? There are a couple of caveats. One is you've got to wait 6 months, because a new mortgage lender with a new mortgage, even if you've been with them before, wants to see that you make 6 monthly payments minimum on time, every time, before they will consider a further advance. So and to be fair, it will probably take you a good chunk of that time to do the work anyway. So yeah, you certainly can ask your mortgage lender for a further advance after 6 months. Second caveat is that your earnings will have to be sufficient for you to be able to qualify for a bigger mortgage. So you might have increased the value. Your loan to value on your original mortgage and your higher value now on your refurb property may be a significant difference. You may have added significant value. But if your income is not considered by your lender to be big enough to borrow more money, then you wouldn't get it. So those are the two caveats. A couple of people saying hello there. So hey, if you're watching the replay right now, you're not watching it live, just let me know you've done that so I can see, and just press hashtag replay. Stick it in the comments. Good. Okay, so there we are. Joy, there's your question, and thanks for asking it. Joy, actually, I met Joy a few weeks ago because she came on my Buy-Refurb-Refinance Summit, and I'm going to be doing another one of those this coming weekend. Give you a bit more information about that later. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions coming in now. Hey, if you're watching this and you've got a question, ask it, because I'll answer it. And you know, that's the basis of a property finance Q&A, really, isn't it? Yeah. So here we go. First of the questions here. Some say, good to see you back again, some say. I have a number of buy-to-lets in my own name. If I die, what happens to the mortgage? Can that pass to my wife or children? Okay. So if you die with mortgages outstanding, it's distributed, or what happens is that it depends whether you've got a will or not. If you've got a will, then the property is passed to your beneficiary. The mortgages don't pass to your wife or children. They would inherit the properties, and they would have to negotiate with the lender to take out new mortgages if they want to do that. Maybe they don't want to be a landlord. Maybe they want to sell them and pay off the mortgages. So no, mortgages don't automatically pass to someone else. So if you die, the mortgages then become due for repayment. I mean, the lenders aren't going to hassle your wife or children to repay it quickly. They'll give you plenty of time to sort it out. Some people do, some people don't, but you may want to consider taking some life cover out that would pay off, if not all of those mortgages, then some of those mortgages, so that there'd be more capital left, in your estate for your wife or children. And if you've got a number of buy-to-lets, you may want some specialist tax advice on how to set that up. Number of issues to consider there. But the basic question is, the mortgage doesn't pass to your wife or children. They have to arrange new mortgages for themselves if they want to remain being landlords. Good, thanks for your question. Valerie, there we are. God, it doesn't seem 2 weeks ago we were on Ninja Achievers, does it, Valerie? Time flies, doesn't it? It really does fly. So how does bridging work if you wanted to buy more than one property from different vendors at the same time? Well, typically you'd use a different bridging loan for each one. You're unlikely to get different sellers on different properties to complete all on the same day. So you just get a bridging loan for each seller. So buying 3 properties and from 3 different sellers, get 3 different bridging loans. That would be pretty much the way. And it might even be 3 different bridges. There's no reason why you would use the same bridger, because they might not have the best terms for each mortgage for each property. There we are. Good. So thanks for your question. If you're watching this and you've got a question, pop it in the chat box, because I'm going to hang around pretty much only as long as there are questions to answer, and then I'm off. I've got a busy day. So let me tell you a bit about more about what's happening this weekend. So over the weekend of July the 3rd and the 4th, I've got what I call a double header weekend, which is I'm going to be doing some entry level training, and you can either do that at home or in person in Leeds. So if you don't want to leave home, hop on the Saturday to my Property Finance Masterclass, and I'll give you some guidance on how to effectively recycle your cash, or buy, refurb, refinance. What are the key points that you need to focus on to make that happen in the greatest extent? If you're in the greater Leeds area, or you can travel to Leeds on Sunday the 4th of July, then come and be with me on my Buy-Refurb-Refinance Summit. So that's a day where, again, I'll give him pretty much the same information as I would be on the Saturday if you were doing it from your own home, in terms of how to be intelligently buy, refurb and refinance. But you can actually hear from me and plus 2 other speakers. I'll have 2 other speakers there as well. I'll also be running through how to make sure that you don't get refinance down valuations, which is a big killer. A lot of people get refinance down valuations, and there are quite simple ways to mitigate that risk. I'll also be running through some ways on how you can become irresistible to estate agents, because estate agents are brilliant. If you can get them working as unpaid sources for you, I mean, it's amazing. And I'll be giving you some ideas on how to do that. Let me just put you a couple of links in there. So first of all, I'll put the link in for Saturday's Recycle Cash Masterclass. Make sure I spelled it right. Always a bonus, isn't it? Actually, we can take Valerie's question off there now. There we are. So pop that in there. If you want to come along to the BRR Summit, Buy-Refurb-Refinance Summit in Leeds, Sunday, 4th of July. Here we go. There you go. This is the last of these double headers weekends that I'll be doing, probably until the autumn. So, because I wind things down in August and early September. I don't really go out and do much event-wise on there. So there we are. Good. So either of those things sound like a good idea. Great. I look forward to seeing you either virtually or in person this coming weekend. So scrolling back, I want to make sure I don't miss any questions. So we've got Valerie's one. Here's another one. Aston, good to see you, Aston. Aston's one of my advanced level trainees. Did the you did the 4-day workshop. I think it was you came down at London, didn't you? That was in May. Yeah, so there we are. Hearing of delays locally for planning permission, potentially 10 to 12 months. How flexible are bridges to extend on terms awaiting plan decisions caused by delays at the council? In varying amounts, Aston, to be honest. Some bridges are more amenable than others. Now, when as brokers, when we're arranging a bridging loan, if it's planning dependent and you raise this point with us, we will look to put you with a bridger that is more amenable and more flexible at the back end. And also, bridgers will also want, if it's a planning dependent bridge, bridgers will say, what's your plan B? So their caveat to lending is they want to make sure that if you don't get the planning, have you still got a viable way of repaying them? Now, I know the deal you're talking about because I'm working on it with you, Aston. So, the answer to that would be yes. But for people generally, any planning dependent bridging loan, bridgers will lend, but they want to know that you've got a plan B, that if your planning gets refused, you could potentially, you've still got a viable way of giving them back their money, because their big thing is, are you going to pay us back? Good. Ninja Achievers, best investment I've ever made. I really appreciate you saying that. Now, see, it says Facebook user there. Now, if you're here week after week, you'll know that what that means is that Facebook protects people's identity unless they give permission to put it. So I'm going to have to go back into the comments later and say thank you to whichever Ninja Achiever that is that's made that comment. But yeah, so Ninja Achievers, in case you don't know, that's my gold standard annual mentorship program. Small group of people, maximum 10. We work together for 12 months and I hold you to account for the goals and objectives that you say you're going to make, both on an annual and a monthly basis. And it's pretty intense. but those that do it love it. Okay, so Jamie, good to have a question. Average rate and associated cost of bridging. Yeah. Now, I've done a video on this. Let me see if I can find that for you, Jamie. I'll pop that in there. So let's have a look at that, because that'll help you on there. Let's scroll down. Just going to find that on it's on my YouTube channel. So I'm just scrolling down to see that, because that, I'll put this in the chat box. Everyone can see that. There we are. Okay, so we've got a video here called what are the setup costs of bridging finance. Okay, there we are. That pop into there. So watch that video. That'll go through the setup cost of a bridging loan. But I'll give you a quick summary now. Average rate. Well, the thing to be aware of with bridging is that it's bespoke pricing based on perceived risk. So each deal is going to be priced individually. Average rate 1%, 1% a month. It's an average rate for of interest for bridging. Now you'll get many deals that we broker are below 1%. By varying amounts, but an average is 1%. Associated costs, well, you've got the arrangement fee with a bridger, you've got the valuation fee, you've got the bridger's legal fees, you've got your legal fees, and you may well have a broker fee too. So those are the main associated costs. But if you want a more detailed explanation of that, watch that video. That's what I do. So people can do that. So brilliant. Thanks for your question, Jamie. Now, scrolling down. Here we are. JC's back. Good to see you, JC. Long question. If you buy a residential mortgage with a 95% loan to value, then you increase the value by a refurb or extension. So you now have about 35% equity in the property, not 5%. Now, second part of the question. Here we go. If you refinance just to pay off the first lender and not pull any equity out, will this drastically reduce your interest rate, hence paying less in monthly payments? It will do, because you're no longer at 95%. I would say drastically is probably a bit of an over exaggeration. It will reduce them, and if you've got a lower interest rate, then your monthly payments will reduce if you don't borrow any extra money, which is you're saying. So yeah, in essence, that would work. If you want us to help you broker in that, JC, happy to do so. So we've got a Facebook user that says Callum. Yeah, I don't know quite what that's about. I might have to dig down afterwards and see who's posted that. Not quite sure the relevance of that. Now, have we got any more questions? Here we are. Okay, Valerie's back with another one. So, if a vendor does not want to start the lease extension process on a short lease property, would it still be possible to get bridging on this? It's less about would it be possible and more would you want to. Okay, so for now, Valerie's done my advanced training, so she knows all about short lease flats and the opportunity they represent. But for other people watching, properties with a short lease, if they're not mortgageable, let's say it's got less than 50 years left on the lease, and these are flats invariably, then you're going to struggle to get a mortgage, but you can extend the lease. Now, the right to extend the lease only comes into effect 2 years after you buy the property. So you have to sit on it for 2 years, during which time the lease gets 2 years shorter, which means extending it gets 2 years more expensive. And the way around that is to get the current leaseholder to start the process and issue a Section 42 notice and make that notice assignable to you, so you can buy it and don't have to wait. So if the current vendor doesn't want to do that, then the only way you can buy it is to buy it, sit on it for 2 years, and then issue your own one. Now, it's not going to be cost effective for you to sit on bridging finance for 2 years plus the time it takes to extend the lease. So you're going to be sitting on bridging finance for the best part of 3 years, and you're never going to get enough rent out of the property, or I guess an uplift in value sufficient to make that viable. So really, if the current vendor doesn't want to start the lease extension process, then you got to walk away, because and let them stew on the fact that they probably won't be able to sell the property. Now, when I say walk away, I don't mean walk away and never talk to them again, but follow up with them periodically, because they're probably going to come to the conclusion at some point in time the only way they're going to sell this flat with a short lease is if they do start a lease extension process. Okay, so now you might have, I don't know whether you might be watching this in my Recycle Your Cash group, but if you're not, I have a Facebook group for property, and it's Recycle Your Cash for property investors, and we chat about all sorts of stuff there, including how to recycle your cash. So let's just pop that link in the chat box here. If you're not a member already, come and join. Always welcoming new members. There we are. Just popping that in there. Have we got anything else? Mike Smith says, I can vouch for Ninja Achievers. Learning so much. Wow. Okay, good. Brilliant. Thank you. Now, very careful how I scroll down here because I don't want to miss any questions. A few more people saying morning. Okay, here we've got a Facebook user. So I'll check out who that is later. If I have a development 60% completed and need some extra cash to complete the project, would your bridger release all the cash in advance to complete the project, or still in arrears? Loan to value is about 30%. Well, the question is, would you want it all? Would you want all that money in one go? Because it's just going to sit in your bank account. You're not going to be able to spend that in a couple of weeks, are you? Now, but let's look at that in a different light. Now, if you've done all this, if you bought the site with cash, you've completed 60% of the project with cash. In effect, they would give you a cash advance to start the next phase, because they could loan it against all the value you've got in the property. So although in reality it would still be in stages and in arrears, because they're going to give you a lump sum to start it off, actually it'd still be in stages, but it'd be in advance. Now, we'd be very happy to help you with that. So let's drill down after this today, and let's see how we can help you arrange some finance on that. Love to broker that for you. Good, thank you. Stephen, there we are. Good to see you. Thanks for your question. Just spent 10k more on a refurb than I originally wanted on a buy-to-let. Yeah. Refurb projects often overrun cost-wise, don't they? Yeah. It's now to a high standard, and I've increased the value by 30k. Do I sell or refinance, or just leave the money in it? Yep, that's a dilemma, isn't it? I'll just read the rest of your question, then I'll come back and answer that. I originally just wanted to do a light refurb and rent out, but I got carried away, and now the house had an extra 10k from me. Yeah. Okay. So the question is, you could apply for a buy-to-let mortgage. You could see what it gets valued at, which will be, the best deals are at 75%. You don't want to be going for the 80 or 85% because it's just higher rates, higher fees. So how much so if you went for a 75% mortgage on whatever it gets valued at, how much cash would that leave in? And your question then is, with the cash that's left in, how long is it going to take me to get it back out? Now, just using a simple calculation of rent over mortgage, then if it's going to take you, if you've left what, £20,000 in there, and your cash flow, rent over mortgage, just use a simple sum, is £500 a month, it's going to take you 40 months to get that cash back out just by positive cash flow. I know that's an oversimplistic way of doing it, but I'm doing it for ease of explanation. And the question to ask yourself then is 40 months too long? And if you think it is, then just sell it. So really the question is or the answer to that is whether you sell it or refinance it is how much are you going to leave in and how long is it going to take you to get that back out by positive cash flow? And whatever time that is it too long? Yeah, I hope that helps, Stephen. Just checking, not missing any questions. There we are. Peter, good to see you. Thanks for coming back with another question. Is a classification of company shares A, B, or C have a bearing on refinancing a commercial property? Yeah. So you can have different class shares, class A, class B. They're sometimes referred to as alphabet companies because you can have multiple different shares, and you would do that for different types of shareholder. So, for example, you could have class B shares would not have any voting rights in the company, so they benefit from dividends, but they don't have any say in the direction of the company. Does it have a bearing on refinancing? No, it doesn't. Very simple. Valerie says these Q&A sessions are invaluable. Good. I'm glad you think so. Thank you. So now we've got certified rides. Back with a question. You're in a relationship, not married but have children. Would like to use equity to purchase a buy-to-let. What are my options to protect my investment from a potential relationship breakdown? Your options are legal ones. So you would need to set up some sort of legal agreement with a solicitor as a backdrop to that. Now, if you're going to purchase a buy-to-let, you can purchase it in your own name rather than joint names. But essentially, that's a legal angle there. So, and I'm not a solicitor, so I can't answer that. So direct that question to a solicitor. Good. So Stephen said, already got a 75% mortgage. Okay, let's roll back and check on that. Okay, you've already got a 75% mortgage. Okay, right. So, well, the issue there is, by refinancing it, you're going to get a whole load of extra costs. So you're going to have to pay a new valuation fee, new arrangement fee, new legal fees, and you're going to have to have a redemption penalty on your existing one. So almost certainly you're going to spend most of that 10,000 by trying to get 10,000 out. So that's not going to work. So refinance it isn't going to work. Do you want to sell it? Well, again, you're going to have legal costs, but you're going to have to pay that redemption penalty. So that's going to eat up a chunk of that 10K. So the thing to do is to investigate the costs of each and weigh that up against the fact that you've got more 10K left in there that you didn't think you had before. Good. Okay. Alan, there we are. Good to see Alan. Alan's doing my advanced training. He's doing the online version at the moment, and we'll see you at a 4-day workshop sometime later in the year. Good to have you asking a question, Alan. What refinance could I obtain for a property with 3 separate flats that is coming up at auction? I'm considering. Is it a normal buy-to-let mortgage for that type of property? Absolutely not. No normal buy-to-let mortgage lender is going to consider that, Alan, because they don't lend on multiple self-contained units on a single title. But you can get mortgages for that. It's referred to as an MUFB, multiple unit finance block. I think, can't remember exactly the name of that, but MUFB is that, or commercial mortgages. Now, you're certainly not going to get any of those mortgages to complete fast enough buy at auction. So you'd have no chance of getting a mortgage on that. If you're going to buy at auction and try and get a mortgage on it, waste your time, man. You just lose your deposit. So you need to be buying with bridging finance. Now, if you're going to be buying with bridging finance, then are these properties in these 3 flats in poor condition? The other thing you need to look at is does planning permission exist? Because you could find that it could be difficult to get a mortgage on it if there's no planning to convert to 3 flats, and you'd have to get involved in getting a certificate of lawfulness, which is effectively retrospective planning. So now you're on my advanced training, so I'm happy to work with you on this, Alan. So ping all this over to me by email, and I'll work with you on this, and we'll establish like what you need to be doing on that. Good. So good to have you. Good to see you here. Here we go then. Chris, good to see you. So we're just refurbing a flip, but seeing another project. Yep, happens sometimes, doesn't it? Is it possible to get a bridging loan for 100% of the purchase price of this new project by securing on a current refurb project, which is of higher value? Yes, in essence, yes. It's going to depend on the numbers, Chris, but in essence, yes. It's called cross-collateral bridging, and I've done videos on that. Let me see if I can find that video for you. Right, let's pop this one in there so you can see it. Hang on a minute. I've got the video playing in the background there. Should need to shut that up. There we are. So watch this video, Chris, and you'll see how that works in essence. But yeah, there's just got to be enough equity in your current refurb project. But if you contact me, let me give you a link to contact me. Probably the easiest way is my Facebook page, Kevin Wright, Property Finance Expert. Just going to pop that in there for you. Yeah, just ping me a message, Chris, and I'll work with you on that. Give me the numbers, and we'll see if there's enough equity in your current project. But in principle, yes, you can do that. So good. Thanks for your question. Alan says thanks. No worries, Alan. No problem on that. Scrolling down. Mike's back with another one. Okay. Would my costs of bridging rates be higher as I'm overseas? Just so I can work it into my max offer matrix? No, not really. Mike, no. It's not going to really affect the rates you get. Good. So I think we are about there. Now, usually when I say that, I'm just about to sign off and say goodbye, and someone sneaks in with a late question, which you're very welcome to do. Chris says, thanks, helpful always. Yeah, let's drill. I'm happy to help you, Chris. So let's drill down on the detail on that, and let's see if we can actually make that happen for you. Okay, so in the absence of any questions, I'm going to say thanks very much. I've done my half an hour. I've answered all the questions. So I'm going to crack on with my week. And if you're going to be at my double header weekend, either online or in Leeds, I'll see you then. And failing all of that, see? Someone creeps in with a question. There we are. Facebook user. Oh, it's Leon. There we are. Good to see you, Leon. There we are. Can you borrow against land, and what is the highest loan to value you can borrow? You can. Not many bridges would do it. And again, is it land with planning or land without planning? And again, big question is how you're going to pay us back. So yes, you can. Probably struggle to get more than 65%, but it depends what the land is, where it is, what you're going to do with it. So yeah, if you want to drill down, happy to work with you and broker that, Leon. Well, thanks very much. Ah, good to see you, William. There we are. So nice to know you've been watching. That's good. Sorry about the result last night. There we are. Okay, so in the absence of more questions, I'm going to shove off. And if you've been watching the replay, give us a hashtag replay, and I'll see you next Monday at 8:30. So have a there we are. See, I keep trying to go, and you keep me hanging on it, but I don't mind. That's fine. Are there places available for the 4th in Leeds? Yes, there are. You got the link in there, brrsummit.com. Yes, there are places for Leeds on the 4th. And if you were meant to be abroad but you're not, great, book in. I'll come and chase you up during today. Make sure that you've got the link to book in, and I'll see you on Sunday. Fantastic. And I'll check out exactly who you are as well. Later. So there we are. Guys and girls, have a brilliant week, and hope it's very productive for you. And I'll see you again next Monday, 8:30. Have a great week.